All right, so this week is, of course, a little different week for us because of the Farm Progress Show and me needing to uh, uh, go up to Chicago with my wife for an appointment this morning. So I just want to kind of quickly go through here and let you know what you need to take care of. Pretty much everything is online today. So, but this will be part of my official lecture for this morning. So, as we go through here, notice I have gone ahead and put a couple of dates on. Now, right now, while these chapter crossword one, the crosswords are in here as quizzes, um, they will not be in the future. So I do want you to go ahead and kind of do them this week. So they will be in there set as a future, kind of as a practice quiz where you can do them if you would like or not do them. What I do want you to do each week is the prep questions, what are referred to as the prep questions. Now, specifically, when you do these prep questions, I have this set to go a couple ways. So each week, when you go in to do the prep questions, I want you to take that cold first. So let's each week when you do these, just go in right away and answer the prep questions based on what your current knowledge is. We'll see how you do. And then later on as the week goes by, after you've kind of reviewed more after our lecture and so forth, then you can go back in and re-answer them. I will give you multiple times to do that. But I would like to see what your knowledge is currently each week when we start this before you go in and kind of read the chapter or hear my lecture and go on from there. So you've got that with this week with chapter one prep questions, the chapter two prep questions. Go ahead and get those taken care of, and then do the crosswords if you would like to as well. So on that too. Now, the heart of this week's lecture is going to be on watching this video project on a manufacturer overseas. Now, I'm comparing it a little bit with what our current manufacturing is in the U.S., and there are a lot of geopolitical type aspects to manufacturing nowadays that we didn't even really have to think about or be too concerned with back when I first started in manufacturing back in the early 1990s. Of course, when I started in manufacturing, the U.S. was the world's leader and probably the largest manufacturer in the world at that time. I will say that we have since lost that title of the world's largest manufacturing country. Um, there are probably some positive things and some negative things that have came out of that. So, but we do, as we study manufacturing and as we get to know more about some of the history of our local employers and our workforce development, we kind of want to pay attention a little bit to some of the history here of manufacturing and also recognize that manufacturing companies as a whole have a lot of pressure on them, outside external pressure, coming from them basically through local or regional, local, state, federal laws, as well as national and international type of laws that might be being placed, or when we get into trade, different trade aspects too. So we want to pay attention to that. And the one thing that I'll say is we kind of start to trade or talk about manufacturing in different countries. Certainly, there is a culture aspect that goes along with this. So we also need to maybe consider some of the culture, some of what is going on in other countries as far as the population of those countries and what people want. Certainly, we can talk about human rights issues, whether they are the same. We can talk about which countries are maybe supporting or propping up their manufacturing, and whether some of these different trade agreements that come about are actually fair trade type agreements. So this week you're going to watch a video, and there is questions that you need to answer on. So you might want to go in with that video and kind of take a look at what those questions are first. see what they are so that you can kind of respond to those questions as you watch the video. Um, I likened this as I was watching this video myself about this foreign manufacturer. I kind of think back to the way we were here in the U.S. back in pre-industrial revolution, and even during the early industrial revolution of the uh, early 1900s. There's a song out back in the 1950s called "I Owe My Soul to the Company Store." Now, I like the Tennessee Ernie Ford version, so which I've given to you right here for you to listen to. But there's also a Johnny Cash version. So it doesn't matter to me which one you listen to, but kind of go ahead and listen to that and kind of see and get some opinions on what that is, and also watch the video so we can have a little bit of a discussion next week when we come back into class and go to discuss some of this stuff as well. Um, Going in terms of my career, sorry, I've got a little bit. I've been talking all week out there at Farm Progress Show, and I'm kind of a little hoarse on my voice here, so bear with me. Um, so I think about different trade agreements that have occurred over my years in manufacturing. Back in the uh, mid 90s, Bill Clinton's administration kind of put through NAFTA, North American Free Trade Agreement, which was an agreement between the US, Canada, and Mexico to kind of allow free trade between and more or less open borders in manufacturing. Now, one of the things that that did for U.S. manufacturing at the time, and I would not call myself, and nor do I consider myself an expert, I just kind of remember my own personal experiences with this, was it kind of a lot of U.S. manufacturers went and wanted to go across the border down into Mexico and started to build manufacturing plants in Mexico and tried to develop a local workforce there. Now, there were several challenges that those manufacturers kind of faced at that time. Number one, Americans, we do tend to kind of be a little headstrong in thinking that our way is the best way. And we have certain ideas in terms of production and manufacturing techniques and production and quality that we want to maintain and go. And we also have certain expectations of what our work week should actually look like. Now, you could go in, that's part of our culture, and we could sit there and say about how our culture has been developed that way historically through the use of between management and workforce. If you get into the Industrial Revolution, and of course the development of unions and trade unions, or whether it's a union shop or a non-union shop, and the different fights for human rights and equitable hours and pay and so forth, have all kind of formed and shaped America's ideas and America's culture relating to manufacturing. Some of it's been good, some of it's been bad. Even now, some of it, there's still some stigma associated with American manufacturing and working as a manufacturer. And there's also a lot of positive benefits to that as well. So we're going to kind of look at that now, specifically talking about NAFTA and the free trade agreement that kind of came up when those manufacturers went to Mexico and started to build their factories and open that. Um, One of the um, side effect, side impacts of that they didn't realize was in terms of not paying attention to Mexico's culture. Culture plays a important role in workforce and workforce development around here. So we had all these American managers that the companies sent American managers down to these manufacturing companies to help get them up and started and running. And as they would start their workday, the Mexican people would come in. They would be working pretty hard until about early afternoon. Well, if you know anything about Mexico, of course, the Mexican people have what they call a siesta, mid-afternoon type, where they just kind of slow down, largely due to the heat. They will just kind of stop working, and then they go and they have that afternoon siesta. Well, that was kind of a foreign concept to most American manufacturers. The idea that the workforce would just stop working at a certain time in the afternoon when you had to get 8 hours of production or 9 hours or 10 hours of production out. And there were a lot of challenges to those manufacturers that went down there to kind of adapt a little bit to the culture of the Mexican people, and be able to kind of coexist with their culture and try to put that in terms of what the American companies were expecting out of production from those plants. So, so I kind of use that as a starting ground, just to kind of give you a little bit of my experience back when I started, and some of the things that I saw and heard about in American manufacturing back in the 1990s. And we'll preface that now as you go in to watch this video project about a manufacturer overseas and a actual manufacturing village or town where all of the employees actually live on company grounds, live, work, eat there. So anyway, I think that's enough of me talking for today. So I will go ahead and let you guys get busy uh, watching the video project. That is your assignment this week. Watch the video, answer the questions related to the video, and then, of course, do the chapter 1 and chapter 2 prep questions and the crossword puzzles there for them too. Hope you guys have a good class today as you work and a great Labor Day weekend. So get out and enjoy, have some free time, and I look forward to seeing you back in class next Friday.